have noticed something recently. I have noticed that there are a lot of celebrities out there making a comeback or trying to make a comeback. They may be coming back to their old career, to what they were known for, what they became famous for, or they may be trying something new. Let's get into it. This episode of Culture Pop is going to be so much fun and very interesting as well, especially for anyone thinking about making a shift, making a change in their business, in their career, in their life. If you want to be more courageous, but you're afraid of being cringe, like this is the episode for you. We're going to be looking at 3 celebrity examples and, of course, their astrology charts. And I'm going to break it down for you. Here we go. Get ready for the Culture Pop. All right, so these 3 celebrities are really interesting. They've popped up for me recently, and I just had to talk about it because I think this idea of a comeback, right? A celebrity who was famous, maybe a few years ago. These 3 celebrities specifically were super famous, like when I was younger in my teens and 20s, and now they're trying new things. And it's really interesting to watch the cultural response to that comeback or comeback attempt, and to watch what works and what doesn't work. Now, today, I'm not necessarily going to be telling you, it's like, if I like something or not, because, well, maybe I will give my opinion, but it's not really about that. It's whether it works or it doesn't work. There are, this is all subjective. So some of you may really love these celebrities and have a sense of nostalgia for them. Some of you may not be fans at all of what they're doing, but let's break it down from a strategic and astrological perspective. Okay, so let's get into it. First off, at the top of today, we've got Tyra Banks. So again, for anyone listening, if you want to see the chart that I'm talking about and the images that I'm sharing, you can do that over on YouTube or Substack. But for those of you listening on Apple or Spotify, don't worry, I will describe to you what I'm seeing. Okay. So Miss Tyra, love her. I have to say, I'm not going to be totally objective here. I do love Tyra. She's an OG. Through her work in creating the show America's Next Top Model and teaching us all how to smize and how to work that runway, just was such a formative voice and celebrity presence in my youth. So I guess I have a bit of nostalgia and a sweet spot for her. But it's really interesting to see. Tyra has really, it'd be cool to do maybe a deep dive on one celebrity career sometime, but she's tried a lot of different things. I think that Tyra is a very innovative and courageous entrepreneur. I think she has a very entrepreneurial spirit. She's done a lot of different things. Some have worked, some have not. And I think we can see a lot of that in her chart. But let's talk about, before we get to the astrology, let's get into what she's doing now. Okay, so she has recently gone viral. We're talking millions upon millions of views for the last few videos that she's shared on the interwebs for a new business venture that she's just launched in Australia. And let me refer to my notes so I get all the details right for you. I'm pulling these details from CNN, this particular one. It says Tyra Banks is launching hot ice cream, and the internet is a bit cold about it. And it's interesting because I'm not sure I entirely agree with this, but we'll talk about that after I finish this quote. The former supermodel turned entrepreneur has announced that she's launching a hot ice cream. If you're wondering what that is exactly, you're not alone. Here's what we do know. Banks has an ice cream company called Smize and Dream that has a shop in Australia. I think it's in Sydney. By the way, if any of our listeners are in Sydney, please go check it out. Report back. Let us know, what is the tea? What is the hot ice cream? What is going on? I would love to hear about it. Okay, so put it in the comments. So according to the site, she came up with the idea in honor of her mother, Carolyn London. Color the internet confused, and some even seem to turn a cold shoulder toward the product, which is reportedly set to launch in the US at some point. And one person commented, Tyra, what the hell are you talking about? We need more details. I love that. I love the random comments. But anyway, so very interesting, kind of out of the blue business venture. And I checked out Tyra's posts on this. I think she posted about it like a couple times last year in 2024, but then really we haven't heard anything until boom, suddenly now. So she is doing all kinds of like music videos for it, like just her dancing around TikTok style in the store, holding the ice cream, eating the ice cream dripping all over the place, like, and talking about her signature product called Hot Mama. And it's just, it's so funny because I think the cringe factor on this one is really high. But by the way, I'm going to score all of these on cringe or courageous. The cringe factor on this one is very high because we're just not used to seeing Tyra like this. Like we haven't seen her in a while, in a big way. In terms of like pop culture. But of course, we know that she's very quirky, that she's very wacky, that she's fun. And I feel like she's bringing that back in a big way. And it's something we're kind of not used to right now. I don't know. I feel like Gen Z is like very serious in the way that they're like pop stars or kind of big celebs act. It's kind of more on the serious side, like I'm so cool. Whereas like Tyra's kind of more from my, well, I guess she's a bit older than me, but was like a celebrity in my day, my youth. And so we were more into the kind of, I don't know, the cringe, the fun, the wacky, the whatever. So it's really interesting to see how this is going to be received. If you want my prediction, I predict that this is going to be big. I think it's going to start out with people turning up their nose at it. They're going to be like, what is this? Why is she acting like this? Like, just go watch your videos. Okay, I'm not going to play them right now. I love it. Tyra, I love you. But they're so funny. I think it's going to start off as cringe and it's going to become cool. That is my prediction. I think it's actually going to become like almost like people will start liking it ironically, and then they'll actually just start liking it. Sometimes it works, right? And sometimes it doesn't. Okay, let's look at Tyra's astrology. So this is interesting. I want to give some tips, if Miss Tyra ever listens to this, of what I think she is so genius at and what I would love to like see more of from her. But I do think this ice cream venture kind of fits in. And the reason that I think it kind of fits in is because of her Jupiter in Aquarius. So let me give you her stats. So Tyra is a Sagittarius sun, Cancer rising, and she has an Aries moon and midheaven. She has so many things in the 10th house, moon, Chiron. She's going through her Chiron return right now. She also has Mars in the 10th house as well. So there's a lot going on up there. She is made for fame. That Aries midheaven is saying to me, that's my archetype of the maverick in my system of archetypes. By the way, if you're new to the Bold Business Podcast, if you're new to me, go and download my free ebook. It's a great way to start getting into understanding how astrology works for fame, personal branding, business, career, etc. So Tyra is a maverick. And so that means that she is here to try new things, to awaken us, to, be ambitious, be kind of shocking. That's actually a big part of her brand. And if you look at what she does, she always does that. She's always an innovator. She's always, doing something new, like trying new things, even her talk show as well. Like it's always like, kapow, I'm going to put my spin on it. It's going to be really different. It's going to be very fiery, activating, shocking, awakening, all the things. But then we have that Jupiter in Aquarius. I really think this Jupiter in Aquarius is coming in hot here. So Jupiter in Aquarius, that means that her fame, luck, abundance energy, how she it's part of her leadership energy, how she expands and can be more visible out in the world is in Aquarius. And so that's, Aquarius is the sign of the unicorn. It's the sign of the mad scientist. It's the sign of the wacky, weird, wonderful person that is unlike any other. And so whenever I see Tyra leaning into her wacky weirdness, I think, yes, like that is very in line with her chart. And we love it. So again, I think she's ahead of her time a lot of the time. And with this venture, maybe people don't get it in the beginning, but they will. I think that's a hallmark of a lot of what Tyra does. So here's my top tip though of something that I think is it's being really underutilized by Tyra right now. I would love to see her like on a platform. I don't know if she has a masterclass, but a platform like masterclass or Mind Valley or something like that, because she has so much teacher and mentor energy. And I really do think that that's a big part of what made America's Next Top Model successful, because she not only was a supermodel, she was then mentoring and teaching the girls. And so that's what we wanted to see from her, right? Because she's a Sagittarius sun and she also has Sagittarius North Node. So this is the direction of her life. This is what she needs to focus on. So the ice cream business doesn't really have anything to do with this Sagittarius mentor teacher energy. So we'll see how it goes, but I would love to see her bring more of that in as, like an elder of the entertainment biz. I think she could really we need more, women in this space saying, hey, yeah, let me mentor, let me, help show the next generation through. I think she could really be a voice for that. Anyway, so that's my top tip. But really interesting looking at her chart, and good luck, Tyra, on Smize and Dream. Okay, so secondly on our list today, we're talking about Katy Perry. Okay, so Katy Perry has been in the news very recently. I think she just went public with her divorce, I believe. And then also I saw like yesterday that they've like confirmed her relationship with Canadian leader Justin Trudeau. So that's the latest, I think, if I've got my facts right on that. But what we're talking about today is not her romantic relationships. That is not the focus. The focus is her career. And it's really interesting because I feel like, and this is just my sense, I don't know Katie, I don't know her strategy, I don't know what's going on in the background, but I feel like she has been working on making a comeback for a little while. Let me read you a little bit of information. So the images I have here for her are her recent public appearance going into space. I put space in quotes because like, is it really space? I guess is it zero gravity, but okay. So yeah, going to space. And then a picture of her latest single, Woman's World. So let me read to you here. Okay, so this is from The Guardian. This is a very harsh article. So I'm going to read you this opinion piece from The Guardian. Perry's solo return is a dated attempt at writing a feminist anthem about how women really can have it all. It's a song that made me feel stupider every sorry time I listen to it. Women's World is Perry's first solo single in 3 years. The first contribution I have given since becoming a mother, is what Perry said, and since feeling really connected to my feminine divine, the 39-year-old pop singer said in a statement. Her last album, which was in 2020, Smile. I would love to do a whole breakdown at some point. My people in my membership know I talk about this all the time. 2020's Smile was very Scorpio coded, and it really didn't work because of that, because that's not her midheaven. So we could talk about that till the cows come home, but that's a separate topic. But that album was her first since her 2010 superstar breakout, Teenage Dream, not to hit #1 in the UK or the US. She has made subsequent stints in Vegas, etc. But a big criticism that people had of this album was #1, the kind of attempt at being ironic or satirical in Woman's World, but really it just felt like kind of very bubblegum, potentially not truly feminist. But the fact that this album was made in collaboration with Dr. Luke, who went through several court cases for just in case there are little ears, I'm just gonna use TikTok speak, sexual assault between him and Kasha. So really a lot of people, he's considered a pariah in the industry, etc. And her working with him on this quote unquote feminist album was very highly criticized. So anyway, just so now you have the context, if you weren't aware of all that. So it's interesting. I think that Katy has been trying to make a comeback after, as it said in that article, after the huge success of Teenage Dream. I recently heard someone say that they felt on like a music critic podcast that they felt that Teenage Dream was one of the greatest pop albums potentially of all time. And, it really did have such a massive success, such a massive effect. when you have something, just thinking about yourself for a moment, when you have something that was so successful, so big, really catapulted you finally onto, the stage, you're visible, you're known for that thing. What do you do next? Right. And this is how we start to take these examples of celebrities and pop culture and we start to apply it to ourselves. Like, where do you go next? Do you try to recreate what you did before? Do you try to do something different? Where are you in terms of cringe and courageous? Oh, by the way, I forgot to give Tyra a rating. Okay, so Tyra, I would give her for cringe, I would give her a 10 in cringe, between 1 and 10. So she gets a 10 in cringe for the Smize and Dream campaign. And then I would also give her a 10 in courageous because I think that she's being very courageous and going all out. She's not half-heartedly doing it. She's going all out and she's, I think, having a good time as well. And I think she gets a 10 in both categories. With Katy Perry, with Woman's World, and kind of what she's been trying to do recently, I would say the cringe factor is very high. It's a 10 for sure, because people are really not picking up what she's putting down and it's feeling like she's trying too hard. And that's often what happens. That's why people feel cringe, right? Is because when you see someone who you feel like, oh God, like they're trying too hard or they're not being serious or they're desperate or whatever, you get that sense of cringe, right? By the way, I've talked about this before. I've written in my newsletter about this before. I have a previous podcast, I think, on this cringe. Cringe is not a bad thing. So we do not want to avoid cringe, okay? Because when we avoid cringe, we're hiding. Right? We're actually selling ourselves short. It's because there's some sort of shame that we have. And shame is the antithesis of fame. Like, we cannot be ashamed and trying to be known, successful, and visible. Like, it's too painful. It's not going to work. We will end up self-sabotaging ourselves massively. So I always give kudos to people who are cringe. Okay. We give claps, snaps for that because it takes a lot, right? So I think Katy gets a 10 for cringe for these things. But I think the issue is on the courageous scale. This is the issue of why I, from the outside perspective looking in, think that a lot of what she's doing right now is not working. So let's look at her chart. I'm going to explain a little bit more. I think that there's the really low on the courageous scale. She's trying to kind of do things that she's done before, the kind of bubblegum, cute, like, women power thing used to work, but now she's in a different stage of life and we're also in a different cultural moment now. We don't want that anymore. I think if Teenage Dream came out today, it would not have the success that it did in the past. What we need now is realness. People want realness. People want to feel like they know you, they know who you are, they know what you stand for. And they don't want you to be perfect anymore. There are other celebrities. I think Coco Moku did a recent article on this. She may have mentioned, I haven't watched it all, I just saw a clip, but she may have mentioned Paris Hilton. There are other celebrities that have done a great job of kind of making a comeback or remaking themselves to be more like authentic, real, raw. Like, we feel like we really know who they are. We know who they are behind the like perfect veneer of celebrity, right? There are other celebrities who have done an amazing job of that. And we've given, I don't know if it's right to say we've given them a second chance, but it's like, we're like, yeah, they're in a different era now. Like the Paris Hilton of today is not the Paris Hilton of like when I was a kid, So with Katy Perry, she has not successfully achieved that yet. And I think it's because she's not being courageous enough. So let's talk about her chart. Okay. So when you look at her chart, wow, what is the first thing you notice? Scorpio. So much Scorpio. This is what I always talk about when I talk about Katy. So she's got Sun in Scorpio, Pluto in Scorpio, Ascendant in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, Moon in Scorpio. Okay. All of that, all in the first house, right? So all of this Scorpio energy is so important. And Scorpio risings, and I know I have a lot of you out there, so many people in my membership in Rising Star and in my private clients. I have so many Scorpio risings who are also Leo midheavens, just like Katy. So this is for you. your brand is your midheaven, right? So your public brand is Leo. We do want the fun. We want the like explosion of like flavor from you. You know, like we want the fun, we want the bubbly, we want to like you to be the life of the party because that is who you are publicly. And, right? Not but, and there's another aspect of this that is very important, and that is that the Scorpio-ness still needs to be satisfied. The Scorpio-ness still, if you have Scorpio rising, or if you're like Katie, you have a lot of other Scorpio. The Scorpio still, it's like your backup dancer, right? I sometimes call Scorpio rising the backstage manager, right? Or just your rising sign in general is your backstage manager. So it still needs to be satisfied. So we need the fun, you know, fun loving, child at heart Leo to be the leading brand. Yes. But if it's not backed up by Scorpio, it feels hollow, it feels false, and we're only getting the cringe, we're not getting the courageous. So what would I suggest for Katie to, you know, really build a bridge with her fans? Because a lot of us used to be fans and we're not anymore, right? So what would I say that she needs to do? She needs to be more raw, more real, more vulnerable, and just have more integrity. I think that, you know, employing Dr. Luke on a quote unquote feminist album does not smack of integrity, right? And working with, or even the quotes around going to space and people saying, "Oh, you're an astronaut now." And she's like, "Thank you." Like, that's just not true. Like, you're not an astronaut. So there's a few kind of things that she's done publicly or ways that she's presented her brand that just feel hollow and they don't feel courageous enough. We don't know the vulnerability. We don't know what's going on with her. And obviously, you know, from her, what little we know about her relationship things and, you know, having children, oh my God, having kids is like, you know, one of the hardest things you'll ever do in your life. Like where we're not talking about that. We're not talking about her real, you know, fears, anxieties, worries, the things that she cares about. Like we're not talking about that. And so it doesn't feel real. So I would, yeah, I would love to see Katie being more real, coming across as having a lot of integrity, really being more just like drop the act, you know, with us. At the same time, we love the playful side. We love the Leo. We love the wink wink. We love the like bright colors, and like Roar was like, you know, my generation's anthem, right? So yeah, there needs to be an interesting, we just want to level that playing field. So if I was going to give Katie a score, like I said, I would give a 10 in cringe and a 2 in courageousness. So if you bring that courageousness back up, I think you're going to start to see more of a winning formula. Okay. All right. So let's get into our final example of the day, J-Lo. Okay, so yes, Miss J-Lo, we love a comeback queen. Okay, so J-Lo has been, and I don't really know if it's a comeback because I don't know if J-Lo really ever left, right? I feel like she's always working on something. She's like, you know, considered one of the hardest working people in Hollywood. And let's talk about her most recent project. So we have The Greatest Love Story Never Told, right? The musical film, and then there's also a documentary as well, right? About, yeah, a documentary about making the musical, about her love story, right? Or her most recent love story. So I did see it. Yes, I have not seen the most recent one. So we're going to talk about the most recent project, Kiss of the Spider Woman, as well. So I did see the documentary and the movie. I'm excited. I haven't seen Kiss of a Spider Woman yet, but I've been reading some reviews and it's very interesting. So, okay, so Jennifer Lopez loves love like so many of us do. Yes, right? She's a lover girl. And she wrote this, you know, very dramatic kind of portrayal of her different stages of her love story. And, you know, she's like, got this big giant mechanical heart that she's trying to, you know, breathe life into again. It was like all this kind of metaphor, etc. And it definitely got like mixed reviews, right? Like a lot of people were saying, ooh, the cringe factor is high. Like really high. A lot of people did not like it because they felt like it was too much, right? They're like, why are we, you know, it's too much. the original studio, I believe, that wanted to make the movie passed on it. And so she was like, well, I'm going to fund it myself. I believe in it so much. I'm going to put my own money into it, millions and millions of dollars, because I believe in this project. I believe it can be a success. And I don't believe box office wise that it was a success. Critically, absolutely not a success. But, and yet there were still a lot of people that really enjoyed it. And her fans, her ride or dies are like, oh yeah, we'll stick by it. So it's really interesting. I think J-Lo, I saw a recent creator this week talking about this, about how, yes, J-Lo has a high cringe factor. And there's a lot of other things as well that we're not addressing here. We're just talking about the creative projects. But she has a high cringe factor, but it's also kind of admirable because there's also, like what we're talking about today, a high courage factor. Like it takes a lot, there's some big ovaries right there to say, hey, all the professionals, the experts said that this wasn't a good idea, but you know what? I believe in myself. I'm going to do it anyway. It takes a lot of guts to do that and to put your money where your mouth is. So actually, a lot of people are starting to feel like, you know what, actually, she never gives up. Like she said so many things that people, projects and like a failed tour recently, etc., where everyone's like, you should just stop, just stop, just give up, just whatever. It's not happening. Like you've had your heyday, da 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 da. And she's like, you know what? No, I have so much creativity inside me, so much passion. I may not be the best singer out there, the best whatever, but I am passionate and I am not giving up. I love what I do and I'm going to keep going. So, there's a big courageous factor in there as well, which I do find commendable. So her most recent project is called Kiss of the Spider Woman. And so this is why she's on our list of comebacks, because this is something that I think it just came out like this week, and had to talk about it because it also, her co-star is one of my faves, Diego Luna. Oh, chef's kiss. He's incredible. So here's what the Harper's Bazaar had to say about Kiss of the Spider Woman. They said the upcoming Bill Condon helmed musical film, so writer-director, isn't just the star's most powerful performance yet, it's also her most political. Kiss of the Spider Woman marks the first time that Lopez, who I love how they always, when it's a woman, they always put like her age, who is 55 years old as if it's relevant, has ever landed a role in a proper musical, which really surprised me because I was like, well, her movie was a musical, right? And, I'm sure she's been in previous, yeah, wasn't Selena the musical? I don't know. Anyway, it says she revealed on the Sundance red carpet that she previously auditioned for Chicago. She would have been great in that. Evita and Nine. At the film's premiere this past Sunday, Lopez was visibly emotional while reflecting on the years that it took her to get to this moment on stage. How many of us can relate to that, right? How many years have we wanted something and people are telling us, no, you're too this, you're too that, you're too old, you're too whatever, yeah. Okay, so the article goes on. It says, it's worth noting that Technicolor mastery aside, the movie also embraces the timely message that love is love in an increasingly fascist environment. And my understanding, after reading reviews, is that the story centers around a romantic relationship between two men in prison. Diego Luna is one of them. And then one of the men is a big fan of kind of like an old Rita Hayworth inspired like movie star and singer who is played by Jennifer Lopez. And so it's a musical and it's lush and it's beautiful representation of queer love as well. So love this. It sounds like a great project. I really want to see it. Let's see. I love the film poster. Very cool. Here's what I want to bring out in JLo's chart. So today we've been talking a lot about Scorpio, right? JLo's got some Scorpio too. So I guess we don't have an exact birth time for her. So we do not have rising sign or midheaven. So we need to look at other things, right? So if anyone doesn't have their exact birth time, this might be helpful to you. You want to look for personal brand. Look at your sun, your moon, look at your north node, look at your Jupiter. These are going to be great indicators of like your personality, your genius, your gifts, like what you're really good at. And it's interesting. I think, so JLo she has moon in Scorpio, sun in Leo. So with Katy Perry, we were just talking about this, right? This interesting thing that happens between Leo and Scorpio, both fixed signs, right? They're essentially squaring each other. So having your sun in Leo and your Mercury, or also her Mercury in Leo, she's like made for the stage. You know, it's like big personality, big energy, loves to get the party started, has like this fun loving side of her, right? But then this moon in Scorpio as well is like, all right, but I also like, you know, I'm very committed and I want to go deep with things, right? Scorpio does not let go, right? And so if there's a project that she believes in, or a relationship that she really, it's like she does not want to let go, right? And so that depth and that Scorpio-ness wants to, you know, give everything her all. And I think that that is commendable as well. That's why I would give her a high courageous score, right? So cringe level for JLo, maybe like 8, yeah, 8 or so. And then courageous level, I would say 10. I think she has a lot of courage in what she does and kind of goes after, despite, you know, naysayers and failures and setbacks. She's like, hell yeah, I'm just going to keep going. Now, I do think that this time, because Kiss of a Spider Woman is an independent film, it is political, it could be seen as more of a risk, right? But I think it's going to have high reward for her. We're already starting to see really positive reviews come out. But like, look at her North Node in Pisces and her Chiron in Aries. Just like Tyra, she's going through her Chiron return right now, which means, where was it for Katie? Let me just check. No, she has Chiron in Gemini. No, she's younger. So Chiron in Aries means that you're going through your Chiron return, and it's, you know, it started in 2018 and it's not going to finish until 2027. So this is a long time period. A lot of people may refer to this maybe as like the midlife crisis. It's a long time period, 7 or 8 years, where you are, you know, facing down your childhood wounds and your inner demons, and you are saying, hey, like, have I learned, have I overcome these things that tried to hold me back, these things that hurt me? Have I overcome my pain? Am I the master now rather than the wounded child, right? And so it's a really, it's not an easy time in someone's life, but it's a time when they are just breaking through barriers. And so I think that, you know, in a lot of ways, JLo and Tyra are doing that. Now, this North Node in Pisces means that JLo has this added element of being in her nodal return. So, and it said she was 55. Yeah. So it usually starts around 56. So if you're in your nodal return, then that is this turning point in your life. So this is going to be really, I mean, watch JLo's career and life. She's going through a challenging 18-month period. But when you go through your nodal return, I just finished mine in January. I know a lot of you are in yours right now. If you're around age 35 or so, you're probably, you know, or if you're around age, yeah, 50, 55, you're probably going through your nodal return right now as well. So it's a not an easy time in your life. It's a time when you're confronted with what is out of alignment and when you really have to make a big change. And if you don't make a big change, it's just going to get harder for you. So her being courageous right now is exactly what she needs to do, especially in her creative pursuits, because it's Pisces, right? Pisces is creative, it's love, it's creativity, it's oneness, it's like fantasy, right? So being creative and taking more creative risks is exactly what she should be doing right now. So you know, good luck to you, JLo. Get, you know, you've got the courage, keep that cringe factor coming, and I'm sure it will pay off. So did you enjoy this? I hope you enjoyed hearing about these 3 celebrity examples that we had today. If you want to, you know, think about yourself in all this, where is your cringe factor right now? And where is your courageous factor? I would say my cringe factor is probably at like a 6, and I'd really like it to be more at a 10. My courageous factor, I would say, is like at a 7, and I would like it to be at a 10. What about yourself? You know, are you being cringe enough? Do you want it enough? Are you going hard enough? Like, you know, a lot of times things that look cringe to someone in the beginning are actually what's going to make them successful. Like 99 times out of 100, that is the case. So allow yourself to be more cringe. Allow yourself to be more open, raw, real, courageous in what you do. That is a winning formula right now. That may not have been the case back in like the 50s or the 60s, but it's absolutely the case now with the proliferation of, you know, social media, content. Everyone's out here hustling. Everyone out here is, you know, trying new things, doing stuff. It's easy to get lost in the melee and the mix, right? But authenticity always wins. It is that trust factor, that integrity, that connection that people feel to you and your heart, which is going to help make them loyal to you, want to follow your story, want to know what you're going to do next, and want to get involved, right? And I mean, what is the work without our clients, right? What is the creativity without someone to receive and engage with us on it? So if your job is really to connect with people through your services and your products, then you got to turn up the cringe factor and the courageous factor too. This is very important. Look at those parts of your chart which are driving factors for your personal brand. Always start with the midheaven. This is your personal brand. This is your public energy. This is what people want to receive from you. Always start with the midheaven, but look at your any concentration of planets that you have in one sign. Also look at your Jupiter as well. These are all indicators of your genius, and we want to see it. All right. So I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you enjoyed the culture pop. And as always, check out what we have on our offers. Join our membership, the Constellation Community, if you want to learn more about yourself and how you can use your astrology and your human design in your business and your career, or chat with me about one-to-one mentorship. I hope you have a brilliant weekend, and we will see you later.